is found that 32 people traveling and only 5 of them survived. Across this past 56 days, 900 bloodlines have been wiped out. Now, I know we're in the UK, and when I say bloodline or family, that might mean a mum, dad, and 1 sister or something. When ethnic people talk about bloodlines and family, we mean like 30 to 40 people, you know? Wiped out. 900 bloodlines. And this university is neutral on it. The way that people are acting now, the way that you behave while this genocide is being carried out, if you carry on with your lives as normal, you pretend it isn't happening, you turn a blind eye because it's not affecting you. You work for the police who work to silence protesters. Work for the police who look to arrest protesters and demonize them. Work for newspapers who try and twist the stories. We've had journalists come to us and twist our words, reduce our message, call this a conflict, lie about what we're saying. If you act like nothing's going on and you do nothing to take action, this is the same way you would have acted during the Holocaust. This is the same way you would have acted during South African apartheid. This is how you act in the face of oppression. And I want you to ask yourselves, are you happy with the way you are acting right now? Are you happy with the position you are taking at this pivotal point in history? When you look back on your life, will you be content with the choices you have made? In 20 years' time, when the children who do manage to survive this are adults. In 20 years' time, when people from Palestine who managed to survive this genocide turn and look to us, what will we say to them? That this was unavoidable? That they brought this on themselves for being born Palestinian, for daring to be born in Gaza? This is not a humanitarian crisis. This is not something that just happened out of the blue. This was a planned genocide, a calculated genocide. And we need to start talking about it as it is. I don't want you calling this a conflict. I don't want you calling this a war. I don't want you calling it anything other than what it is. Genocide, settler colonialism, white supremacy. These are the key things that are being carried out right now. All in pursuit of money. All in pursuit of arms contracts, gas, and in pursuit of land. Because Palestinians, Arab people, Muslims, we've been reduced to nothing. The world has told us that our lives are not worth the same as those who are white. I want you to remember the terminology that was used when Ukraine was invaded. On the news, they didn't even try and hide it. They go, these aren't your bog standard refugees. These aren't Africans coming in or Arabs. These are blonde-haired, blue eyes, white middle-class Europeans. So it's heartbreaking seeing them having to clamber onto trains. That's directly what they said on the news. It's like they couldn't hear themselves. They couldn't hear how they sounded because it's so normal to them. It's become so normal to see anyone who isn't white as less than, as deserving of. When a genocide is carried out in the Middle East, in Asia, in Africa, it's expected. Why is it expected? Why does the West not care? Very simple answer, because they're the ones doing it. And we are so privileged to live in this country. So again, for the people walking past, for the people who can hear me, Use your privilege. Understand your privilege. And make your voice heard and speak out against this. Because if you tell yourself, if I was about in Nazi Germany, I would have done something. I wouldn't have been one of those people. I wouldn't have turned a blind eye. If you turn a blind eye now, and you continue to look away, and you continue to tell yourself that's just the way things are, you continue to tell yourself there's nothing I can do, I promise you, you would have done nothing back then too. Take a stand against genocide. Join this protest, learn what NTU is doing. Come and stand with us. Stand with Palestine. Thank you very much. Settler colonialism being the practice of colonizers coming into a land, eradicating the people who live in it, and replacing the population with colonizers instead. Some more objective facts, because this university is so principled in being objective. Objectively and truthfully, underneath the Gaza Strip, natural gases lay there. Objectively and truthfully, you know who's going to profit off of that? Rishi Sunak and his wife, who just so happen to have stocks in BP, who just so happen to have made these partnerships a couple months before this genocide started being carried out. I mean, you put the pieces together, guys. We saw what happened in Iraq. It's happening again now. 1 million people were killed because of the Iraq invasion. 1 million people. And it's our responsibility to learn from this history. Now, I don't want you all to just be standing here listening to me speak. So please, like I said, come, use the banner. Feel free to also come stand in front of here, you know? We don't have to just be facing the university. We can also be standing in front of the steps, showing people, don't go into this place. Currently, what they've got on is an open day, right? They're encouraging prospective students to come in and study an institution that silences their students, that tells their students they're not allowed to openly stand against genocide, tells their students that they have to remain neutral. What kind of educational establishment does that? Shame! What kind of establishment tells their students, do not critically think, do not take principled stances, do not look at the facts, ignore the facts in favour of the lies that the government's telling you instead. Pay us 9k a year, or if you're an international student, even more. And let me remind you, NTU pretty much runs on international students. You guys hold a lot of power. These establishments don't care about you. They don't care about the people of the world. They care about their own pockets. They care about making money, and they care about silencing you in order to protect their partnerships that they have. We as the people have a responsibility to speak out against injustice. We have a responsibility to use our words and to take action. And to the students who are considering studying at this university, considering paying this university to teach you about the world and teach you the truth, this university lies. This university tells you that genocide is not something to speak out against, it's something to stay silent on. I can see one of our protesters up there now. I really urge people, go and join her up there. Take your signs up there, face outwards, make this an outward-facing protest. You're allowed to peacefully do this. You're allowed to peacefully hold your signs up. Stand in front of the doors, let people in if they want to go in, but explain to them why we're here. You've got leaflets. On those leaflets it explains exactly why we're sitting outside here today. Face outwards, face towards me. Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
shame on you.
NTU, shame on you.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide.
You're committing genocide.
You're committing genocide.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide.
You're committing genocide.
You're committing genocide.
Israel, Israel, what do you say?
Israel, Israel, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today?
How many kids did you kill today?
Israel, Israel, what do you say?
Israel, Israel, what do you say?
How many kids did you kill today? A certain definition of anti-Semitism. Now, as our brother said a couple speeches ago, we have to understand that anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are two very different things. But the universities in this city have labeled them as one and the same. Their definition says that to be anti-Zionist is to be anti-Semitic. Is this true? No. So why do educational establishments like this one put this as their definition? Well, the answer is very simple. They're racist. This country is racist. This country don't care about Palestine. And this country wants to silence people who do. But as you can see from the turnout here today, we're not being silenced. We're not scared. And we are going to keep coming out, and we are going to keep speaking out. But the most important thing is students at this university and the University of Nottingham and the Nottingham community are going to demand that these universities get rid of these definitions because they are inherently wrong and anti-Semitic in themselves. To label all Jewish people as having to be pro-Zionist is anti-Semitism. You cannot make an entire group of people represent a racist, white supremacist ideology. To say that all Jewish people support Zionism is like to say all Christian people support the KKK or all Muslim people support ISIS. These are wrong. This is wrong, and it's conflating terrorists with a religion that is beautiful and peaceful. Thousands of Jewish people across the world are calling out, "Not in my name." So how dare Nottingham Trent University and the University of Nottingham conflate the two together? Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The occupation must go.
The occupation must go.
Judaism, yes.
Judaism, yes.
Zionism, no.
Zionism, no.
The occupation must go.
The occupation must go.
All right, I'm going to give it as an example.
We know you killed journalists too.
Israel, Israel, we see you.
Israel, Israel, we see you.
We know you killed journalists too.
We know you killed journalists too.
End apartheid, end the crime.
End apartheid, end the crime.
Israel out of Palestine.
Israel out of Palestine.
End apartheid, end the crime.
End apartheid, end the crime.
Israel out of Palestine.
Israel out of Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Let's get more in sync, guys, okay? I feel like we're getting a bit out of sync. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it, 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 and if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
what do we want?
Justice.
What do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
I'm here today because I had the privilege of going to Palestine and living there for 4 months in 2017. I lived in a beautiful place called Nablus, home of great soap and great kanafa. If you don't know what that is, get to know. Hang on. I basically just stood up there and grabbed a couple of bits from a couple of Instagram posts from my time there. So I'm hoping this will make a bit of sense, but bear with me if it doesn't. So during my time in Nablus, a friend of mine, Ramses, that I made, he one day was like, "Can I show you where I live?" And he wanted to show me a place called Balata refugee camp. This is a place where his family have lived since they were forced out of their homes in Gaza, during the Nakba in 1948, when around 726,000 Palestinians were forced from their homes and land. And today we've heard that these numbers, with this ongoing genocide in Gaza, have actually surpassed that number, which I just think is astonishing. Balata is the largest refugee camp in the West Bank, with 30,000 residents per quarter of a square kilometre. And I just had a quick Google whilst I was stood up there. And that's compared to Nottingham, which is 5,000 per square kilometre. So if you just think how many people are there. Most of the Palestinians are living here are from Jaffa and also from Gaza. The streets are small, incredibly small. You're squeezing yourself in between buildings. You can just feel how forced those people are in there. And yet they've been able to build beautiful falafel stands, and they're just beautiful people in Balata refugee camp. One man, when I was there, rushed up to me to show me that his father's passport, it was a mandatory Palestinian passport, which dates back to Palestine under the British administration between 1920 to 1948. And the regulation page recognises the state of Palestine in his passport. So what does that say to you? I just want you to think about that point, and I want you to also bear my friend Ramses in mind today. I messaged him the other week to ask how he was, and 32 of his family were travelling from the north of Gaza down to the south, and only 5 people made it. So please think about him today.
Bless you.
Give her a big, big round of applause. They are not just people who are Muslims being murdered, they are Christians, Jews, they are queer. There are a plethora of different identities. There are black Palestinians, there are white Palestinians, there are Arab Palestinians. And it's really important that we understand this variety. We understand that there is variation within this country, and do not let yourselves become desensitized and see them as this monolith. Palestinians are not just represented by Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, any of this. They are human beings. They all have individual views, just the same way that we do. We're not represented by our government. We're not represented by the crooked leaders who sit in parliament, sending millions and billions over to fund genocide. We represent ourselves. We are individual people and we all have voices, so use them. Use this open mic, come and speak out, and make them hear you. Now, if you want to join people in the sitting inside, go ahead, please. They're all going to sit in and they're going to chant. Can someone help me with the speaker? We're going to take it in. Free! Free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! 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 Free, free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! 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 What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? And if we don't get it, 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 what do we want?
Ceasefire now! 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 You can hide! You're supporting genocide! NTU, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide! NTU, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide! NTU, shame on you! NTU, shame on you! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
1, 2, 3, 5!
Occupation no more!
1, 2, 3, 5!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a quarter state!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a quarter state!
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine!
And to make it clear, from the river to the sea is not an anti-Semitic comment before anyone tries to claim this. From the river to the sea is calling for peace across Palestine because Israel imposes terrorism against the Palestinians on a day-to-day basis. This did not start on October 7th. What Israel does is they will raid homes of Palestinian people, murder innocent men, women and children on the daily. The stories that have come out across the 75 years of occupation are vile. Israel was founded on terrorism, maintained on terrorism. And these calls from the river to the sea are calling for peace from the river to the sea. So join in with me. From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
what do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
what do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
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 and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
free, free Palestine,
Free! Free Palestine!
free, free, free Palestine,
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
Let's lower it down for a sec, guys. Lower it down just a bit. So, we're waiting for NTU spokesperson to come. Can we ask, where are you? Where are they? We've got community liaison. Could you answer? Do you know where they are? Or are you just going to ignore us like you are to the side?
Where are you?
NTU, 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 where are you?
Come on now, chill out. 20,000 people have been murdered. We're not chilling out. We're not going anywhere. It's the jobs of these institutions to be speaking the truth, to be giving students freedom of speech. I want to remind you, when Ukraine was invaded by Russia, both NTU and the University of Nottingham rushed in to condemn Russia and voice their support for Ukraine. Where is that support for Palestine now? Nowhere to be seen. The double standards are blinding, and it's very obvious why they won't speak out. Palestinians are not white. Palestinians are Arab. Palestinians are predominantly Muslim, though there are many Christian and Jewish Palestinians too. But from this genocide, the Christian population of Palestine is almost wiped out. From this genocide, 0.5% of the population in Gaza now has been killed. 60% of the population has been displaced. You know how much that is? 1,700,000!
Shame!
And instead of protecting students and their right to protest, look at how many police officers rush to protect a university that is silencing students. Look at how the staff come running when people come demanding justice, demanding to hear from the people who are so brave and so proud of silencing genocide but are too cowardly to come and speak to us.
Cowards!
And I want to remind you, if they do come and talk to us, if they do come and give a statement, listen very carefully to what they say. And if it's not enough, if they dodge around, if they refuse to address things properly, if they make excuses, call them out on it. You do not owe these people politeness. You do not owe these people respect if they refuse to take a principled stance against genocide. If they come out and they say, as a university, we recognize that genocide is being carried out and we completely condemn the actions of Israel. We believe that students have a right to protest, a right to speak out against genocide, and we support students in doing so. Amazing, give them a round of applause. But if they come out here and they try and say, we care about both sides of this conflict, we care about the war going on, and we care about all lives being lost, no matter... They're liars. They are twisting the situation. The loss of life from all sides, yes, is a tragedy. However, we need to understand that this loss of life on both sides is the direct cause of Israeli occupation, of Israeli apartheid, of Israeli genocide. So, if we care about the loss of life of both Palestinians and Israelis, we have a human responsibility to condemn Israel. This is the logical progression that we should be getting to. But universities instead are coming to the conclusion we need to be neutral. So, if they come, I hope to God that they do for their sake. We need to call them out if they do not stop. When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
and if we don't get it, and if we don't get it, and if we don't get it. What is happening? It's differentiating between Jewish people and Zionists. Because Judaism and Zionism are not interlinked, as much as the Israeli occupation would like you to believe that. And this university, Nottingham Trent University, their definition of anti-Semitism conflates Judaism and Zionism together. They claim that to be anti-Zionist is to be anti-Semitic. And this clause in their definition allows them to silence students. It allows them to impose rules on them that stops them from speaking out against Israel, that stops them from condemning the genocide that's being carried out. This is one of our demands for the university, to drop this definition and to replace it with one that is respectful to the Jewish faith and respectful to the thousands of Jewish people speaking out against Israel, saying not in our name. But the university is too cowardly to even show their faces at the moment. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep chanting. And like I said to you, get comfortable, sit down. It might be a bit of a long wait, you know? Rest your legs, but don't rest your voices, because if I can shout, you guys can shout too. All right. Free Palestine. The way that Holocaust survivors live in Israel currently, you can look this up. The way that they live in Israel is below the poverty line. They go out to try and scramble for food in the markets after they're closed. They take the scraps. They try to survive. Israel will have you try and have you believe that they care about Jewish people. They care about the people who survived from the Holocaust. They care about establishing a safe place. These are lies. Israel is an ethno-state based on the same ideology that Nazism was built upon. They care about one thing and one thing only: their superiority in Palestine, their right to ethnically cleanse a land that does not belong to them, and their right to manipulate a beautiful religion to justify it. So when universities like NTU say that Judaism and Zionism are the same thing, when they say it's anti-Semitic to criticize Israel, be confident when you say, no, it is not. Speak up for your Jewish brothers and sisters and make sure that their religion is not tarnished by these terrorists. Does anyone here have a speech? Oh, give her a big round of applause, please.
I want to say thank you to everybody that's come out in support of us today. Give yourselves a big round of applause. It's been freezing. Behind me, including me, we are NTU students. For everyone else here, please do not think this is the student voice. We are not happy with this. We have been silenced. Our lecturers and our staff have been silenced. We do not support this. If you cannot speak out on genocide, what can you speak out on? Shame! Shame! Shame!
Jew, and the first condition of a Jewish life is exile. But if exile was always part of what it means to be a Jew, it stands to reason as we see 2 million Palestinians displaced from their homes, many of them already refugees, that they have become in some way like Jews. And if the sages of the Jewish religion were right that the fate of Jews is bound up with the collective fate of universal humanity, it stands to reason that none of us will be free until the Palestinian people are free. Their destiny is the destiny of human dignity. Jews and Palestinians, both of us children of Abraham, we share with one another a secret no one dares to name, but instead is put out of sight, chased away by exculpatory myths. One such myth is the myth that the salvation of the Jews could be anything but identical to the salvation of the human species, that our restoration could come at the expense of another people. But the secret remains. It belongs to my ancestors who died in German concentration camps 80 years ago. And it belongs to the Palestinians who are martyred anew every day. When Palestine is free, the secret will be told. And I just want to finish in answer to the charge that is anti-Semitic to describe Israel as a settler colonial state. I just want to quote from, firstly, from David Ben-Gurion, the first Prime Minister of Israel. He said, "Let us not ignore the truth among ourselves. Politically, we are the aggressors and they defend themselves. The country is theirs because they inhabit it, whereas we want to come here and settle down. And in their view, we want to take away from them their country." And this one is from Zev Jabotinsky, who is the leader of the Zionist paramilitary, the Irgun. Once decried as a terrorist organization by the UK until it was absorbed into the IDF. And its leadership went on to found Likud, currently the largest party in the Israeli coalition government. Everything I just said was factual and objective. He said, "We are seeking to colonize a country against the wishes of its population, in other words, by force."
Shame! And to make it clear, from the river to the sea is not an anti-Semitic comment before anyone tries to claim this. From the river to the sea is calling for peace across Palestine because Israel imposes terrorism against the Palestinians on a day-to-day basis. This did not start on October 7th. What Israel does is they will raid homes of Palestinian people, murder innocent men, women and children on the daily. The stories that have come out across the 75 years of occupation are vile. Israel was founded on terrorism, maintained on terrorism. And these calls from the river to the sea are calling for peace from the river to the sea. So join in with me. From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
What do we want?
Justice
When do we want it?
now.
What do we want?
Justice
When do we want it?
now.
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
and if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
and if we don't get it. Just for the people who aren't sure why we've actually come here today, NTU have been silencing staff and students, telling them they have to take a neutral stance in this genocide. NTU have said that our response has to be neutral to a genocide. How does that make any sense? Out of the fear that has been spread by our media, by our government, lies, propaganda being spread, claiming that to support Palestine is to support terrorism, students across the country and in Nottingham are being silenced. And NTU, as an educational establishment, has a responsibility to be objective. And the objective facts are, this is genocide, and we must condemn Israel for carrying it out.
This is genocide!
This is genocide.
This is genocide!
This is genocide.
This is genocide!
This is genocide.
This is genocide!
This is
So if you are an NTU student and you'd like to get involved in taking action against your uni over this next week, if they do not agree to meet with you and discuss with you about things, we are coming back. So please come to the front. Is this okay for me to say, by the way? Come to the front, chat with this group and go, make your demands heard, and organize yourselves, set yourselves up and go to speak to them. Get in touch with us if they refuse to take action, and we'll be back. Absolutely we'll be back. We're not going anywhere. Because this is not over until our universities agree to cut their ties with genocide and divest. And please, don't see this as a loss. Don't see this as, oh, we spent all of our time here and nothing's come out of it. What has come out of it is that students have now gotten organised. Is that the university now knows that there's pressure on them to put something out, to take action, that they're not getting away with just sitting quietly, taking a neutral stance. We're not accepting it. The students aren't accepting it, and the public are not accepting it. Because these people are established in our community. And we are calling
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it, 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 what do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it, shut it down. We don't get it, shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. Costa, you can't hide. Costa, you can't hide. You're supporting genocide. You're supporting genocide. Costa, you can't hide. Costa, you can't hide. You're supporting genocide. We don't get it. Shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. And if we don't get it, shut it down. As the British public, you all have a responsibility to speak up against this. If you do not, and if you stay silent, if you turn away, this is exactly how you would have acted during Nazi Germany, during the South African apartheid. If you do not care about a planned genocide being carried out against the Palestinian people, 56 days of our world leaders, of our MPs, of our Prime Minister, of our international community sitting frozen, silently complicit in this genocide, or even worse, actively responsible through their unapologetic support, through their arms sales, through their military, political and financial endorsement. Shame! We have been calling for a permanent ceasefire for over a month now. The world stands with Palestine, and our leaders stand with the settler colony of Israel. A colony that was founded and maintained through ethnic cleansing and terrorism. Over the past 56 days, 20,000 innocent Palestinians have been murdered. 20,000!
The main bit on the main, where the other stuff.
Now that's what we're trying to do. 7,000 remain under the rubble. And 1,700,000 have been displaced. 1,700,000 people have been made homeless. Applause was called last week. My face is covered up because I want to keep this action going. We need to come together, understand what it is that we want to do, and then make it happen, correct?
Yes.
So, what we need is to find community spaces. We need to find places that can host people, that we can gather in big numbers and talk. Does anybody have any idea of a place that might? Okay, we've got one. So, if people do have ideas about this, please come up to the front after we break up and let us know about what these spaces are, the capacity, how you can get involved, because we need to keep up this momentum. People are starting to listen, finally. After years and years and years of campaigning, people are starting to listen. From Nottingham to Gaza. So repeat after me. From Nottingham to Gaza.
From Nottingham to Gaza.
Victory to the Intifada.
Victory to the Intifada.
From Nottingham to Gaza.
From Nottingham to Gaza.
Victory to the Intifada.
Victory to the Intifada.
Intifada means the shaking off. Intifada was what? the first struggle against the Israeli occupation was called. There was the first intifada, the second intifada. So, just so you know what you're saying. But like I was saying, we need to come together as a community. So keep an eye on our Instagram and on our Facebook. We are either going to try and organize something again for next weekend, or should we say take we're gonna be doing stuff across the week, basically. So at the University of Nottingham, we're gonna be running a public speaking session. So for people who want to learn how to speak in public, because it can't just be me always. For people who want to learn how to speak more, build their confidence, we're going to be doing sessions on how to talk about Palestine, how to deal with Zionists when they come up to you and try and trip you up, how to speak unapologetically and not soften your language. We're also going to be doing things like holding Palestinian culture events and getting people to come in and see Palestine for what it is,